Strat-O-Matic Excel Carryover League. Brought to you by the Shrimp Troll.
(1973 to 1976). Welcome back, baseball fans. The 1973-76 Carryover League. Another opening day, and woo! We got another doozy today. The Kansas City Royals open their season in Fenway Park against the Boston Red Sox. Hard to believe this matchup comes so far down the list, as at least one of the teams on the opening day menu thus far as highest seeding from previous year, but somehow the schedule got missed, and these two really quality teams, who are much better than a lot of the teams we've seen, are playing here. Kansas City and Boston in Fenway Park. Forecast looks good for both. Boston's probably the favorite in the American League East. Kansas City has to deal with Chicago at the top of the Midwest, with a very young Milwaukee team probably still not ready, and the Twins trying to get younger, holding on to players probably too long. Kansas City at Boston. Today's pitching matchup, then we're just going to get straight into this thing. For Kansas City, it's Marty Patton. He's risen to the top of the rotation, at least for this year, mostly because his 1976 is statistically one of the best performances of a Kansas City starter. Disappointing win-loss record, but a .249 earned run average. He's an outstanding pitcher, just pitched into really bad luck as a starter 7. Elevated ahead of 20-game winner Paul Splittorff, regular Ironman Dennis Leonard, and Larry Gura, more traditional top-of-the-rotation guys in Kansas City history. Boston will send the old man Louis Tiant out there with his 74 card, 22-game winner, .292 ERA, not as good as his 71 or 72 card. I forget which one was the sub-2 ERA one, but it's still Louis Tiant. And he actually pitches better here in this season than he would in their World Series year of 75. I think his ERA was above 4 in that year. Most folks remember, of course, that brilliant Game 1 performance in the World Series against the Reds. But Louis is better here in 74. So let's get started from Fenway. Should be a classic. Leading off for Kansas City is Amos Otis. And we've got to find Amos's card. Oh, he went in the clubhouse to adjust something, and I can't find his darn Strat-O-Matic card. Where'd it go there, Amos? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, 9. Oh, this is so embarrassing. Well, there's a rain delay here in Boston. He was hanging out with the pitching cards. I don't know what he was doing. He was having a conversation with Doug Bird in the bullpen. He's back now. Okay, there's Amos. And it was well worth the wait after all that. I look up on the board in 1-5, so let's go take a look at Amos Otis' card. Yep, 1973, 26 homers, a .300 average, a B stealer. Crushes lefties more than righties, as he's probably more of a middle of the lineup player against the lefties, but we'd have him lead off against the righties because his batting average dips. Doesn't matter. 1-5 is gone no matter who's throwing. That is gone. He hits one over the Green Monster to start the game. 1-zip. Cookie Rojas, 34, pops to third. George Brett, 211, pops to first. And Mayberry, 5'11", second X, second baseman. Doug Griffin is a 2E16. He makes the play. All right, leading off, believe it or not, the Red Sox don't have a true leadoff man since they traded Tommy Harper away in the offseason. So they're putting Yastrzemski there because he draws more walks than any other of their players. As a matter of fact, he had 105 of those in 1973. Might as well have him get on base. Leading off is Yaz. 54 off of Patton, right into the numbers. Homer 1 to 5, double the rest, and it's a 2-base hit. Batting second, Carlton Fisk. 310, flies left. Batting third, Freddie Lynn. 510, catcher's X. Your catcher is Fran Healy at 3E9. And that's a foul out, so the runner does not advance. And with 2 outs, Jim Rice. Making his Major League debut right now. 2-9 is a K. Wasn't added a year ago because they added Cooper and Lynn. This year they added Jim Rice. And they also added... Who else did they add? Oh, Fisk. Yeah, his brilliant 75 card. Okay. Top of 2. It's Fran Healy. 1-5 single. Jim Washer Dwyer. 5-5 second X. Second baseman. Doug Griffin, 2E16. It should be a double play, and it is. Great turn there by the good, slick fielding second baseman. Fred Potek batting 7th. 1-8 is a K. Fred, if you're wondering, just hits 225, so we don't like to lead him off, against righties at least. Bottom half of 2, it's Cecil Cooper, DH today. 66 is a base hit. Now you got newcomer Bill Sadak, a switch hitter, can play everywhere, crushes lefties, in there as an extra left-handed bat against Patton. 58 flies to center. Rick Burleson, 37, and that is a 6-4-3 double play. All right, we go to the third. It's Sweet Lou Piniella in Kansas City for one more year, then he'll be gone to the Yankees. 58 short X. Your shortstop is Burleson. He's a 3E31. They had an option to improve his defense, but they ran out of... The card to improve the defense was in a year that they liked other players, so they have to wait one more year to improve Rick's defense. Duke Sims, 58, flies to right. And back up top to the only run of the game in Minnesota's 411. Left X, and out left today, it is Jim Rice. As a rookie, or with a 75 card, we're using 75 instead of 76, yeah. He's a 3E1 in left field, which is surprisingly outstanding for Jim. Makes the catch. Only one error. Bottom of the third, it's Rick Miller. 5'11". Pitcher X, Marty Patton, is an E10. And that's a ground out. Doug Griffin. 67 is a pop to first. Back up top to Yaz. 49 off Patton's a walk. That's why he's up there. And Carlton Fisk. 1-6 is a grounder to short. We go to the fourth. Matter of fact, the Red Sox have no speed, I believe. They got some C stealers. Oh, Rick Miller. I'm sorry, Rick Miller is a B stealer. They still have, and Steve Dillard is on the Boston bench. He is also of a B stealage. So there's that in lieu of losing Tommy Harper. The speed thing just wasn't working for Tommy Harper in Boston anymore, so they traded him. Top of the fourth, it's Cookie Rojas. 5'10's a walk. George Brett, 2-7 is a base hit through the infield. That's the advantage of a speedy team. You hold them on and you get the plus, and that's what Brett just got. Runners on the corners for John Mayberry. Brett's a C stealer. Mayberry, 37 is going to be one of his 119 walks. They are loaded here in the fourth for Tiant. Big mess. Playing back for Fran Healy. 411 left X. Now, they really need Rice here if they can. A 3E1 in left. And they get a fly ball B. So it's a sac fly. They'll take that. They'll get the out. You got first and second. 1 out. 2-0 game. Jim Dwyer. 2-9. Center again. And with 2 outs, it's Fred Potek. 32. Foul out the catcher. Bottom of the fourth. 2-0 Kansas City. Fred Lynn. 412. Fly to right. Jim Rice, 68, lines of short. Cecil Cooper, 38, rounds of first. Is this one of the best Boston offenses ever? Perhaps one of, but not until, frankly, when Lynn and Rice later in the decade. Sure, Carlton Fisk has got his best offense. So does Cecil Cooper, but pretty much everybody else will have better offense. Yaz might be has been better previously. Late 70s Sox, and then when they get Wade Boggs and some other pieces in the early 80s, probably what you're going to see the best Boston lineups. Plus, the bottom three of Burleson, Rick Miller, Doug Griffin are no shakes down there. So, top of the fifth, it's Lou Piniella. 4-5, triple 1-7 is a 3-base hit for Lou. Off the Tiant card. They're going to bring the infield up. They're already down a couple. Duke Sims, 48 is a K. Back up top to Otis. Still up. 2-6, single 1-18 for the RBI, and he gets it, and it's 3-zip. B. Steeler, 1 out. Rojas. He's going to hit and run. Moves the runner in scoring position with 2 outs for George Brett. 48 is a K. 3-0, bottom of the fifth. Let's pause a moment for station identification.
This is the Shrimp Trawler video channel.
Este es el canal de videos de camaroneros.
All right, bottom of the fifth is be Bill Sadakis. 2-5, ground second. We'll show you cards when we get some significant offense. We don't have it yet. Rick Burleson. Most of this offense has come off the pitcher card. 2-7 is a single for Burleson. Rick Miller. 63, first X. Very good defensive John Mayberry. A 2, but a high E rating of 19. And it turns into a ground ball C. Runner at second, 2 outs for Doug Griffin. 67 is a pop to first, and you're seeing Marty Patton. Leadoff double, a couple of singles, that's it. Into the sixth of a 3-0 game. John Mayberry. 62, first C. Fran Healy, 37, is a base hit. Jim Washer-Dwyer, 1-7, is a base hit to left field. Healy will hold. 2 on, 1 out. If you're wondering, Tiant is, of course, a starter 9, so he ain't going anywhere on opening day, unless he gives up crooked numbers. And Marty Patton, starter 8. 2 on, 1 out, and it's Fred Patek. 48 is a walk, and again, Tiant has loaded the bases for the second time in the game. Did it here in the fourth. They're going to bring the infield up, try a double play through the catcher if you can get it. Lou Piniella. 35. Oh, and what is a disaster? Yeah, it's a ground ball short A plus. So you played it back to end the inning with a double play, it'd be over. You played it up and got greedy, and that's a 2-run single. And that really stinks for the Sox. Runners in the corners, 1 out. Now they're playing back for Duke Sims, 1-9. Homer 1, fly ball. The rest, are you kidding? Let's look up. We'll look at Duke Sims' card first. This is happening too much this year, folks. So Duke Sims is, he's finally past it. Let's face it. He's had some great years for Cleveland. Fantastic 72 card as well. I think it was with Detroit. 73 is now a Yankee. He still hits 245, but the ridiculous walks are gone and the ridiculous homers are gone. He still had 9 and 245 at-bats. So 1-9, homer 1, fly ball the rest. And when we look up, lo and behold, there it is. Don't think it's in the cards today for the Red Sox. That is a 3-run bomb, and everybody's reached a scored in the inning. It's 8-zip. This inning could be over for one managerial gaffe of bringing the infield up. And everything else is snowballed out of control. Amos Otis, 65, flies to right. And with 2 outs, Cookie Rojas, 62, rolls to first. Well, Boston. Well, they've been some wild games at Fenway. Can they come back 8 with 4 frames to do it? It'll be interesting. Carl Yastrzemski. 54, it's Patton's card again with a homer 1-5 double and another double. Carlton Fisk, let's get on the board with one of your 332 batting average hits. 411, left X, out in left field. Well, you got Lou Piniella, not the greatest, a 3E3 in left. Kind of need this, Boston. They get an error on an E3 outfielder. If you ever want to chase a unusual result, you can look at the very low percentage that happened here for an E3 outfielder that created an error. Go to fielding rating, 17%. That means that when you roll the E rating, the lower the percentage, the higher chance it's going to be an error, unless you're an E0. So that's, yeah. That's an error right there on Lou Piniella. And Boston's on the board. And Carlton Fisk's at second base after the error. It's 8-1. Fred Lynn. 67 is a pop to short. Jim Rice, 38, is a base hit to center field. Not going to run against Amos Otis when you're down 7. Runners on the corners, 1 out, playing back for double play, Cecil Cooper. 58 is a sac fly to right field, and it's now 8-2, 2 unearned runs. And with 2 outs, it's Bill Sadakis, 6'10", center X. Center fielder is Otis, of course, a 1E6 with a -4 arm. He makes the catch. 8-2. We go to the 7th. It's George Brett. 2-5, grounds to short. John Mayberry, 2-7, is a walk. Fran Healy, 3-11, is a walk. Here we go again with Louis. Kansas City's very patient. Look at the walks they're getting. I always thought they were a free swinging bunch, but they are patient, as John Mayberry's 119 walks attests. Jim Washer Dwyer, 43, first X. They need this out of Yaz. Yeah, he's a 215. They need a DP here, and they get it. Ground ball to first baseman. Yaz turns that into a 3-6-3 double play. Great break right there, folks. For your Bosstown Sox, trailing 8-2. In the 7th inning, it is stretch time here in Fenway. And we are enjoying, as soon as this thing pops up, the dulcet tones of Steven Tyler and Perry and whatever all that group is. Yeah, Arrow Smythe, 1976 Rocks LP. Kind of flew under the radar. Really outstanding record, though. Didn't have that one big hit that the Aerosmith records always had, but Back in the Saddle, Last Child, this one, Sick as a Dog, Nobody's Fault. Good stuff on this LP by Boston's very own. Okay, back to the game. Bottom of the 7th. It'll be Patton's a starter 7. We'll watch him closely. Puts a couple guys on. We might hook him. It'll be number 7 hitter, the Rooster, Rick Burleson. 52, flies to left. Rick Miller. 1-4, triple one, base hit. Number 9 hitter, Doug Griffin. 48, flies to left. And with 2 outs, back up top to Carl Yastrzemski. 2-7 is a grounder to... Oh, wait a minute. That's a base hit. Yeah, he ricocheted through the hole there. Again, you're holding the runner at first base and you get the plus. We got a lot of that today. Either holding a runner or infield up. We hit it 3 times. There. We had it in there somewhere. Do we not? We had it there. So we have runners in the corners with 2 outs. And Carlton Fisk. 54 off the Patton card, and it's going to be a painful. It's Homer 1-19, and it's a... and you look up. Weirdo game here, folks. Homer 1-19, and Fisk hits the top of the piece of the wall there, and it stays in the park for a double. Scoring the run, Yaz. Center fielder -4. No, he's going to stay there, and they're going to let Freddie Lynn hit. Freddie Lynn's the brains of the team here, of the offense. It's 8-3. That shouldn't have been a home run, 3-run homer. That should have been, and the score shouldn't be 8-3, but that's what it is. Fred Lynn, runners at second and third and 2 outs. Here's the pitch to Freddie Lynn. 68, lines to second off of a broken Marty Patton by this point. He'll exit after 7. Tiant, probably shouldn't be in there based on the runs allowed, but first game of a series, because we just have 8-man pitching staffs, I usually let the starter go deep. And the fact that Tiant's had some real bad luck here. It's an 8-3 game in the 8th. Moreover, because Boston's got a pretty lousy bullpen. We'll have him go one more inning here. Or at least start another inning. Fred Patek, 59, second. Mostly because he's Louis Tiant. That's the big reason why. Lou Piniella, 2-11, pops to third. And Duke Sims, 69, pops to first. I guess maybe you could say Duke Sims hit the pesky pole as a left-handed batter instead of going foul, maybe. And I don't know what Fisk did. He must have just hit a rocket that just scraped the top of the monster. So 8-3, bottom of the 8th. Marty Patton is gone. They're going to have to go to their bullpen, and this is one of the weaker ones. Actually, both of them are. This is the one aspect of these two teams that's holding them back. Kansas City has not added key bullpen pieces like Mark Littell yet, or transferred Marty Patton in the pen. So they have Doug Bird, Bill Laxton, Horacio Pena, and Bill Gogolewski. For the Red Sox, it's worse. They have Bobby Bolin, who made a comeback at a very old age after missing some years. They have Roger Moret, more suited to start, Ray Lamb, and Chris Short. So not very common names for two teams who are hoping to go very far and reach the playoffs this year. So Patton will exit. They'll start the inning with their lefty, Bill Laxton, and if he rolls into trouble with a 5-run lead, they'll switch over to a righty. But Bill Laxton is the pitcher. He actually was a member of the Padres in 1974, 45 innings, an ERA of 4. Moreover, he throws a baseball with his left hand, which is why he's here. With a desperate shortage of quality left-handed pitchers in our sport during this time, and we have expansion to 32 teams, diluting the market even further. Most of the best teams have prioritized getting 3 quality lefties early in the draft so as not to fall into that problem. Kansas City made that mistake, and Laxton literally was the last guy in 1974 to have his name called. You know, when they're picking teams and that one guy is still standing on the fence? That's Bill Laxton in this case. All right, bottom of the 8th. Jim Rice, licking his chops. Here's the pitch. 1-6 is a fly ball to left. Cecil Cooper, and you really should lift him here. He's decent against lefties, but Laxton's really bad against righties. You got to get some men on base. So as far as getting men on base, let's go with Steve Dillard, another rookie. Let's take a look at this guy. He's a young player. 1976 Dillard hits .275 for the Red Sox. Utility infielder. His defense is weak, so Burleson and Griffin will always be above him for playing time. Here's the pitch to Steve Dillard. 35 is a grounder to short. And with 2 outs, it's the dangerous Bill Sadakis. Speaking of 3-5, let's take a look at the Sadakis card. This is must-see TV here, folks. Boston traded for this guy. They traded Tommy Harper to the Cardinals for Bill Sadakis. And this guy just obliterates dingers against lefties. Yes, the 5, the 6, the 7, the 9, the 12. Oh, don't forget that other 7. Ridiculous, folks. And that will play out pretty well in Fenway Park. Also can back up Fisk, first, third, and even can play left field. So that's what Boston needed. More of a utility player, slugger off the bench type. And they got it. Here's the pitch to Bill Sadakis. 66, a strikeout. Bill Laxton, 3 up and 3 down. So after all that, we'll go to the 9th of an 8-3 game. We've seen enough of Louis Tiant today. Boston will go with their first, the longest man, Chris Short. Short was a Brewer in 73 with a 5.13 ERA in 72 innings. That sounds like Fenway material. We'll face the top of the Kansas City offense, Amos Otis. 49, second. Cookie Rojas, 210. Pitcher. And Brett, 49, is a strikeout. Nice inning by these subpar lefties. Let's bring in a little defense, just in case this thing gets out of hand. Al Cowens will trot out into left field for right field, and Dwyer will move over to left field. Pinella will exit. Actually, Pinella's he's the same defense as Dwyer. So yeah, Cowens will come in for Dwyer, and Pinella will be left alone. And here we go. That was the only defensive change they needed. Bottom of the 9th. Bill Laxton pitched an inning. Let's divide it up here. Let's go with a 5-run lead. Let's start this inning with Bill Gogolewski. Give him some work. If it gets salty, they'll go to their closer. But right now, Bill Gogolewski will come in. He was a Texas Ranger in 73. He was 3-6 with a 4.22 ERA and 124 innings. Trying to get some outs here in the 9th inning. It'll be Rick Burleson. 6'10", catcher's X. Your catcher is Fran Healy, a 3.9. That's an error on Fran Healy. Oh boy, that's how it starts, they like to say. Number 8 hitter, Rick Miller. 38, and that is a 4-6-3 double play. So much for that. Okay, 2 outs. And here's Doug Griffin, 2-8, and there's a grounder to the 3rd, and kind of a blah opener, I gotta say, with some weird pendulum swing dice rolls in this one. Don't know if the best team won, but the best team who did win put a lot of men on base, and they technically put 3 more men on base than Boston did. Got the victory. Marty Patton gets the win. Louis Tiant gets the loss. Final score is 8-3. We'll be back with the conclusion of the series. Game 2, Paul Splittorff and Bill Lee battle lefties in Fenway. Then when the series goes to Kansas City, Rick Wise for the Red Sox against Larry Gura, and Sonny Siebert triumphantly returns to Boston. He'll face Dennis Leonard making his Kansas City debut. That should be a fun Game 4 if we get that far. So stick around for all of that. Okay, baseball fans, here's the box score of the game 1 you just saw. Very strange game. Kansas City gets the road win 8-3. You could say Boston could have won this game 8-3 based on the flipping a homer 1 and a homer 1 and 19 for each team. A 5%, 95% chances and so forth. Just a bizarre result. Patton, 7 innings, 8 hits, 3 runs, 1 earned. Louis Tiant, he did put 14 men on in 8 innings, so he didn't very pitch well. Probably deserved to lose, and he did. So, what happens in Game 2? Does Boston have an answer? In game number 2 here in Fenway, we have Bill Lee versus Splittorff, a battle of lefties. Kansas City gets off to an early start. A Brett triple scores Patek. He would score on a wild pitch. RBI single Patek, and it's a 3-1 game, as we had a Petrocelli home run in there. But Boston gets something more substantial in the 6th. After a couple walks, you get a 2-run double by Burleson. We're tied. In the 7th, Splittorff hits his point of weakness, and Horatio Pena can't help him out. You get a hit, strikeout, walk, single. A couple more runs. That makes it 5-3 Boston. Meanwhile, Bill Lee does get through 8, and they bravely turn to Roger Moret in the 9th to close it out. They go lefty-lefty here with Lee Moret, figuring that Kansas City's not that good against lefties versus flipping it. And Moret dances in the 9th, makes it interesting, walks the batter, but they get a 5-3 win. It's really going to be an adventure for these teams closing games out this year, tight ones. And for whatever reason, I mean, the lumber was decent, but it's about to go downhill rather quickly, the alleged lumber. Game 3 scoreless, 2 outs in the 9th, John Mayberry solo homer, walk-off ball game. That's it. Rick Wise and Larry Gura pitched out of their minds. Wise, a 4-hit shutout until John Mayberry stepped in the box in the bottom of the 9th with 2 outs. Larry Gura, a 2-hit shutout. And that's the ball game. That's how they happen. We were preparing for a scoreless 10th inning when John Mayberry had other plans. Unfortunately, Rick Wise, 8 2/3, 5 hits to the run, a walk and 3 Ks. Gura, 2-hit shutout, a walk and 4 Ks. Where is the Boston offense? Where's the Kansas City offense? Where's any offense? But John Mayberry is delivering the goods. When he's not drawing walks, he's getting hits. He's on fire. And Kansas City's up 2-1. Game 4, the weakest pitching, Sonny Siebert, Dennis Leonard, surely will have a slugfest. Surely, right? Folks, Boston has not scored in quite some time. They lose again, 4-zip. We saw something similar to this last year for Boston. Don't know how this happens to the Boston Red Sox, but they seem to go weeks on end without figuring out how to score runs, with 330 hitting Carlton Fisk and 330 hitting Freddie Lynn and Cooper and Yaz, and just this ridiculous offense just not rolling their hitting cards, not rolling their columns, over inning after inning after inning after inning. It is just inevitable. They're just going to lose. This is the broken mirrors, walking under ladders, black cat era of the Boston Sox, I guess. In this thing, Kansas City gets a 2-out RBI double. Here's another interesting point. Bottom of the first, Dwyer singles. Number 2 hitter rolls Lomax, line out max. Normally you think, oh, that inning's done. When you get a low max for a double play in an inning, you figure, oh, you got no shot. Not this Kansas City team. Brett gets a walk on his card. Otis gets a walk on his card. Mayberry gets another timely double. Even Piniella added a walk. It's 1-zip. Fourth inning, a runner's at first. Jim Dwyer, 2-run homer. By the way, Jim Dwyer and Jack Heidemann, the 1-2 hitters of Kansas City. There were 1974 St. Louis Cardinal extra players, the number 1 and number 2 hitting extra player cards issued to the Cardinal team that didn't have a need or use for them. And they both ended up in Kansas City somehow. It's working. I mean, they don't play that much. They both hit like 276. I think Heidemann has the 276 average, and Dwyer probably has the 282 average. Yeah, whatever. But sure, they put Al Cowens and Patek on the bench a lot of times. 3-0. Of course, you know Boston's not going to do anything. In the 7th inning, they do chase. Well, they chase Sonny Siebert by. He's a starter 5. So he gets chased in the 5th by putting 3 men on. So his line was 5 innings, 8 hits, 3 runs, 5 walks, 3 Ks. Ray Lamb comes in, gives up an RBI single to John Mayberry. We'll have to look at Mayberry's stats. He might be hitting like 600 or something. Kansas City wins 4-0. Dennis Leonard, Bill Gogolewski, Bill Laxton, and Doug Bird combined for the shutout in a line I don't think I'll ever say or say again. Dennis Leonard, Bill Gogolewski, Bill Laxton, and Doug Bird combined for a shutout. Probably won't ever hear me say that again. So Kansas City wins this series 3-1. Let's look at these atrocious numbers. Let's start with Kansas City. I mean, the pitching's going to be phenomenal, but the hitting's not going to be anything good. Yeah, your Kansas City Royals are hitting 233. Brett's 4 for 17. John Mayberry is 6 for 13 with 3 RBI. Had that walk-off homer, of course, and then 2 RBIs in the game we just played. Has drawn 3 walks. The pitching's been impeccable. A 1.54 ERA, 3-1. For whatever reason. I don't know how long that's going to last. So, but now it's time to take a look at the old Boston Red Sox. See what these guys are doing. Just 4 games in, but the Boston Red Sox are hitting a .185 as a club. A 3.89 ERA. Wasting decent starts by Bill Lee and Rick Wise and Sonny Siebert to a certain degree. Nobody has more than a couple hits other than Yaz. Carl Yastrzemski's 5 for 6. Has sat against a couple tough lefties in Gura and Splittorf for the lightning swings of Bill Sadakis, who's 1 for 12. That didn't work out. Matter of fact, no other Red Sox player has more than 2 hits. It's kind of sad. Fisk is 2 for 15. Fred Lynn is 1 for 12. It's a bad start. It's 4 games in, so it seems worse, like the sky is falling. But break up your Kansas City Royals. They take advantage of a slumping Red Sox team early in the year and beat them 3-1. Thanks for checking this out. We'll see you next time.